I think.
I mean, I don't think we could have, even if somebody brought something tomorrow, it wouldn't go on.
It's too late.
Yeah, we're calling. St. Patrick's.
I'll actually I'll have just come back from other states. So I
Will they make you quarantine?
So if I can get the Zoom link,
Yeah, it's on our website
can I just attend that way for that one?
for April 7th.
Yeah. Since I'll be at quarantine.
Yeah, yeah, because I'll put you on and still let you have like access to talk and
Yeah,
just like you're here, where other people like me and mute them, so.
right. Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Thank you.
yeah. Just remind me, don't forget.
Okay. I'm gonna put a note to myself. You know?
Yeah.
I know.
Where's the camera? Hidden, you're on hidden camera.
Hidden camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on Zoom. Can you tell how many people are watching this?
None right now.
How many did you
We're not gonna be blowing up the internet, I don't think.
Where's the camera? How's this?
I have an external one.
Oh, I was just saying, because it's not looking the way you're
Yeah. We're learning. It's a learning curve, Chris.
was talking about the first one?
Last
We
week.
got hacked. No.
Oh, that one?
No.
Yeah, that was fun. I missed that. I wasn't here then.
You know, it was you.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. Caught me.
All right. We'll call the March 3rd Town of Mendon Planning Board meeting to order. First item on the agenda tonight are the meeting minutes from February 17th. I had a comment on the second page. After Mr. Young stated the original seeker will be sufficient, will not need to revisit. And should say another paragraph, having considered the previous seeker, planning board agreed the previous negative declaration still pertains.
Oh, did you type that in yours already?
No, I did not, I just wrote by hand.
Oh, I'll take that.
And then I had a question for Don. We have when we open the public hearing, and then we have a motion to close the public hearing. Should we mention that no public commented on the application?
Sure.
I don't know if it matters.
I think it's okay to mention.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then should we have a time that we close the public hearing?
Um,
If we mention what time we open it,
Yeah. I think
just
we
for
can.
future.
Okay.
That's what I had. discussion, fellow planning board members? I will make a motion for approval as amended.
Second.
Second from Tom. Further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Opposed? We abstain. Abstain from Lauren. Okay, next item on our agenda is the, forgive me if I do not pronounce this correctly, Silverall site plan. Requesting site plan approval to construct a single family home in a barn at 324 Union House Road, consisting of a 5.25 acre and RE5 with tax account number 222.03-1 and 9.3.
How you doing? Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is John Sharapa. I'm with Land Tech, representing Mr. Silverall this evening. And if I can answer any questions, Mr. Silverall is here as well. I can answer everything that I cannot. On my way down here this evening, I was trying to think the last time I was down here to represent something in the planning board. It's been quite a while. I see some new faces on the board and some historic people from town. They're still here. So it's my pleasure representing the applicant tonight. This is a fairly easy site plan. This is an existing lot that was approved in 1986. This is lot 2 of the Sackett subdivision. It has sat basically dormant at the southeast corner of Quaker Meeting House and Cheese Factory Road for some time. Mr. Silverall purchased the lot last year and has dreams and hopes of bringing his family down here to the town of Mendon and building a new home. That being said, we are using the original percolation tests that were witnessed by the health department back in '86. That's a standard practice that we use since they're witnessed. We have 55-minute perks and 18-inch minerals, which kicks this leach field into a fully raised system. We meet all the required setbacks for that leach field, and therefore all the setbacks of the proposed house itself. We kind of have that home set right in the middle of the big open lot. The one change from the original approval back in '86 is that we're proposing to have the driveway off of Cheese Factory Road. Mr. Silverall believes that's a safer location for his family. It is a county road, and I believe the town does have comments from London County DOT. We also proposed a 90 by 62 pole barn at the southeast corner of the property, and that meets required setbacks as well. The most significant aspect of this project, I think, is the grading. As we all know, the grading associated with the project is based on the leach field. So we have a raised leach field. It's 3 feet out of the ground. As you work your way back to the house keeps going higher and higher in order to meet gravity to go into the leach field. And we also wanted to keep the proposed barn generally consistent with the grading of the house. So that's why you see that the grading is the most significant aspect. If you're familiar with the site, you know along our south lot line, it's a kind of a low area. We've taken a harder look at the barn and realized that we're close to the property line there, and you may be aware that the owner on that side has a pond over at their southwest corner, and that pond drains through our property and to a cross culvert down over on Quaker Meeting House Road. So, but we don't want to directly drain off or shoot the drainage right over to them. So what I want to do is put roof leaders on the proposed pole barn and take those roof leaders directly to the south and to daylight there. I have comments from London County DRC. The only one that really responded was Monroe County DOT regarding our driveway. Mr. Raven's comments are all technical in nature. We can address them, basically adding site distance, I believe, increasing the signage. We have the speed limit sign shown. We want to make sure that those were scaled a little bigger. I don't see anything that you mentioned that we can overcome. We do have a 12-inch water main that runs on the west side of Quaker Meeting House. We're proposing to tap that. Plans have been submitted to Monroe County Water Authority and Monroe County Health Department for review as well. So that's my quick overview of what we're proposing, and I can try to answer any questions that you have.
Yeah, just real quick items that I wrote down, which I think some of you may have just addressed as you went through. I'll just go through all of them as So I had to put them down quickly and then we can come back. The first item on here, I had area of disturbance. Looks like it's gonna be over an acre. I mean, just the area that you're looking at grading, I think I came up with 300 by 200.
Yeah.
Wondering about the demo of the existing barn, use of the proposed barn. Got some roof leaders that head to the north. I was wondering if we could put those to the south. I think that's natural drainage goes to the south. I did not see any proposed or any town of Mendon standard notes on the plans. I think if I'm not mistaken, town of Mendon has standard details for the driveway section also. I did not notice the EPOD delineation on the plan. Barn roof leaders, which you had kind of briefly touched about there. And I also had a question about the speed limits, the design speed limits. I can stop there. I see the posted speed limit on Cheese Factory Road is 50 miles an hour. And then the design speed limits is from westbound is 40 miles an hour and eastbound is 30 miles an hour. I guess like found that a little confusing.
Yeah, I'm confused on, because we're really not doing any design elements in our plan. It's really a driveway access. So I was gonna bounce that back to John Raymond at the DOT and say, what are you talking about? What are you?
Okay.
I think it's more of a, I think it might be a site distance issue. I think the safest place is the farthest east on that lot to put the driveway.
Okay.
I think anything closer to the intersection would be more problematic.
Okay. And I think there is a note that I've seen floating around on other site plans, which says, you know, you put on there, we understand the site distance is not what is recommended.
Okay.
However, we don't hold the town of Mendon accountable for insufficient site distance.
Sure. Mr. Chairman, can I take a crack at a few of your comments, or you?
Yeah, that's great.
So, the old barn is proposed to be demoed. It'll probably be demoed, in conjunction with the construction of the new barn. If there's some elements in there that he has, we want to have those migrate to the new barn. That will be gone and will not be there, after CLO of the house. The new barn is proposed, Mr. He has a lot of cars. He's a car collector, large piece of property. He's gonna have equipment that he needs to maintain the site. You mentioned the disturbance. Yes, we are over an acre of disturbance. So we will be submitting stuff to the DEC for erosion control only. We are under the 5 acres required a full split for this activity. We will, again, I guess the passage of time, we didn't add the details that we normally would for the town. We will review the town specs and make sure all town details are added to the plan, including the driveway cross section in EPOD. I wasn't familiar with the EPOD. Do you know, Mr. Chairman, which one it would be? Wetlands or?
It's an EPOD number 9, if I remember. It's on the
Yeah,
Environmental
it's just number
Conservation
9.
Board.
9,
Number 9,
has to
yeah.
do with drainage and runoff.
Yeah. So would that be like a drainage easement you would want to have along our south line or something related to that? Or just
No.
with the?
You need to control it, and I think that's what the ECB's report is all about, basically saying you're gonna have the drainage run ultimately to the south.
If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong here, basically where the neighbor's pond sheet flows across this property, I think are the soils that are susceptible to ponding.
Well, you're not really stretching too far. Yeah,
You
so-
know, I looked at an aerial image and it's like, wow, it's right there. You can see the sheet flow across.
So what I took the liberty of updating the plan that you don't have the benefit of seeing, and I included the roof downspouts on the barn, roof leaders projecting to the south. I also added a hatched area in that area saying a low area subject to seasonal ponding. And I added some drainage directional arrows showing that the water drains from east to west. So I didn't update the plan.
Is there a swale on that along the easterly property line?
The eastern property line?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where the water today, how the water flows. It almost looks like it flows from the northwest to the southeast. I mean, it looks like there's
Yeah.
It looks like you've got 5 to 8 foot of fill that you're bringing in to build that house and the septic tank up. I'm hoping we don't create a pond.
Yeah, so we are taking the water, so we are bringing that house up, so some of the water is gonna come from the northeast, going around the leach field, everything eventually is heading to the south. That's the way we're trying to get it. The area between the house and the barn, that naturally comes to the south. We are sheeting some of the stuff from the driveway to the east. But I believe that once it hits that property line, it does make it to the south again. That pond does outlet onto our property. We went and brought up some other topo outside and added it to this plan so we can clearly see what their pond does. I think there's a little outlet that they have it on the west side of their pond. Our goal is not to make it the drainage to the east any more than it has to be. I think it'll work well. What else did you mention?
Well, yeah, because I'm wondering if it sheets off the driveway to the east and we're grading right almost up to the property line.
And then everything's coming south.
Yeah, but we're grading up to the property line, so it would actually be going over to the neighbors. We're not putting in a swale to convey it.
I can create a swale west and adjacent to our property line. No problem. It's gonna be a little tight near the barn. And then I think we're both confused about the site distance and we'll add that to the plan. And if there's any CYO notes regarding the location of the driveway, we'll make sure that those are on there.
Okay. And you mentioned that it is over an acre, so there is a SWIP and name only. You need to, we are an MS4, so you need to provide that to the town building department so we have it on record.
No problem.
Meet those MS4 requirements.
Yeah.
It's a piece of paper.
Yep.
Demo of the barn, talked with the code enforcement officer. He'd like to see the demo happen before the C of O on the house.
That's fine. You can add a note to the plan.
Use of the proposed barn, the reason why I asked that question is there are different setback requirements if there are animals in there. Sounds like you want to
No
use it
proposed
for storage,
animals.
no proposed
And
animals.
we could add a note to the
I
plan.
think we've had a note on the plan that says, any.
Yeah.
Needs to meet town amendment requirements if animals are stored in there. Somebody asked me once, well, what if a mouse is living in that barn? Does that constitute it? And then, oh, that's right. Actually, on the other application we have tonight was the note that I was kind of referring to about the site distance. Line of sight disclaimer. The owner/buyer of the property is aware that the location of the driveway does not meet the approved standards for rule of sight distance from either or both directions. The town of London is not responsible or liable for any accidents or injuries resulting from the placement of the driveway or lack of sight distance from such placement. I think, contact Michelle or Corey to get the exact verbiage on there. I think it's
Yeah, we've got it, goes in the written list of the standard notes.
Okay, yeah, that's no problem.
Yeah, I can email them to you if you, yeah, I have them on send out.
You have the general notes in there as well?
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah. Just call.
Probably changed since
Yeah.
1999.
Right.
Not much. I think they're still typed.
Corey has my email.
Okay.
Fellow planning board members,
You said the barn was 62 by 90 or by 73?
62 by 73. I apologize.
You're stripping all the topsoil
Not all, only the area of disturbance.
of this, where you're putting the fill, are you going to be stripping the topsoil there? Then we need a topsoil location file with silk fence shown around it. The type of fill coming in should be a clean fill, not concrete, asphalt.
Mr. Silver owns a trucking company and I think he's gonna pick the best stuff.
Yes, I recognize that. Water and electric in the barn, concrete floor.
Don't know about, I can ask Bill about it. I know we're gonna have electric, water
I like that one.
Water and electric.
and concrete floor.
Bathroom or just?
Probably not.
Just wondering, do we need to consider connecting to the septic?
I hadn't really thought about it, to be honest with you.
Floor drain in the barn.
Nope.
I mentioned about silt fence around the pond, right? Around
The stockpile?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only other thing I had, you've covered everything except for, if they had the farm note under the map, submit an ag data statement. You can get that from Michelle or Corey.
We had an ag data statement.
I'll make sure that, the minor notes a standard note.
There's the planning board application.
Yeah, we did provide it. You,
Data statement, yeah,
yeah,
just have the farm, the note, there's a note that goes on the map.
okay, so we'll add the note, but you got the statement. You got the form, okay, no problem.
Any questions for the barn? You say it's like antique cars, right?
Antique, classic cars.
Are
So,
they already repaired, or are we gonna do some repair on them? or-
No,
They're all complete.
yeah,
What's that?
They're all complete.
They're all complete, okay. I would think you'd put a drain in the middle if you're gonna wash them too, I would think.
I think it's in there if we can or not, it might be a harder road to haul for us. It'll be a speeds permit, DEC,
Don't separate area.
yeah. It's what we all want to do.
It's great.
You got to put it in the septic tank.
That's all I had.
All right, Don, with regards to seeker, this was a previously approved building lot. Are we treating this as a type 2 action?
Yes,
No further consideration is needed with regards to seeker.
and then for site plan, you're gonna wanna do prelim and final probably at the same time tonight.
And so what I got all this, we're talking about a swale along the easterly property line. Topsoil location noted on the plans with a silt fence around it. Town of Mendon farm note added to this. Town of Mendon standard notes added to it, and including the Town of Mendon site distance note. And MS4 paperwork filed with the town.
Do you need me to have a note, Mr. Chairman, about adding the old barn to be demo prior to zero?
Yes.
Do we need to know no animals in the barn? Do you need to note on that, or is that the standard notes cover that?
No, we would need that note.
Okay.
On the county permit, if they show a pipe, I'm gonna show it on the drawing, the driveway.
Yeah, I don't think they need one. Yeah. Yeah. They just want us. But we'll see if they change them, huh?
Yeah.
When they resubmit.
So, okay, and then 10 would be. I don't think it's really rectify the site distance. I think it's confirmed. The county's good with that. I mean,
I thought I had addressed the county notes, but then I was at the DRC comments and I see that we haven't, but I reviewed them and I don't see any challenges.
So I think we came up with 10 conditions on this. One is the swale is added to the eastway property line. Topsoil location is added to the plans with the silt fence shown around it. Number 3 is not on their number. So then town of Mendon farm notes are added, and town of Mendon standard notes are added. Town of Mendon site distance disclaimer note is added. A note for barn to adhere to town of Mendon storage of animals is added. MS4 paperwork is filed with the town. And confirm Monroe County DOT is good with the site distances.
Construction entrance. Shown.
Construction entrance is shown.
I don't see it. It's a dark area, but I don't see it labeled as construction entrance.
So. Each property line from the beginning of it.
You want, does,
At the barn location as well, that is barn.
you want the typical, construction entrance, this gravel 100 feet detail?
Yeah, stabilized construction entrance, right? Right on.
Right.
That would be the 10. Okay. The application looks to be complete. We talked about 10 conditions. Board members, if you don't have any further discussion, somebody feel comfortable to make a motion for preliminary and final approval, conditional preliminary and final approval as we discussed.
So moved.
Okay. A second.
A second.
Tom. Motion made by Chris, second by Tom. Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
See you, Bill.
Well, you are the historic person.
We're all gray hair, or I have no hair.
Hi. Are you here for the Leonard site plan? You can come on up.
All right.
Tonight, so we can loud enough to be heard by them. Next item on our agenda tonight is Leonard site plan reapproval. Requesting reapproval of the site plan for Carson on Cole Road that was approved by the town of London on February 11th, 2010, consisting of 1.9 acres, zone RA5 with tax account number 192.04-1-10. Hello, welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Gina Leinhardt is the owner of the property. This is her daughter, Barb. I'm the son-in-law, Bill. And I did the survey work when I was with BME to prepare that site plan back in 2010. And there's been no changes. Their intent was to build a house there. And plans have changed. They put it up for sale several years ago. And they have a current buyer interested. The buyer is all going to make the deal if it still can be an approved building lot. So
Okay.
I checked with Michelle and Corey, see what needed to be done, and because it had been so long and nothing had transpired out of lot, no construction of any kind. Yeah, it's really full of processing.
Okay. We've got, looking at the previous approval, remarks are all engineering issues must be addressed and toxic waste, paint and batteries, etc. should be disposed of properly. I think we have the engineer at the time signed off on the plan, so engineering issues were addressed by him signing off on it. Where's that? There's toxic waste should be removed from the site. I think I saw a letter from the DOH, which they reapproved. And I just saw it. Where did it go?
Yeah, I think everyone's got a copy of that, so I called the health department. They reapproved the second design for another 2 years.
Okay. That's right. We don't have one in the official plan. January 25th, it was issued by the Department of Health. Okay. One item on here is, you're the surveyor that you did this originally, so there was a benchmark placed in the middle of the lot. Is that benchmark still there? I assume it is, yeah. So, and the only other comment that I really have of this is, we have the Town of Mendon Highway Superintendent signed off on the plan also. I think a condition of our approval is the current superintendent also signs off on it.
I'm not sure if that's always necessary. Is that a standard condition that you're talking about?
Well, no, I mean, they signed off on it. Bud Smith signed off on this in 2010.
Okay.
So should they look at it? I mean, it is 10 or 11 years old. Are there any concerns now that was not there before?
Such as?
Are the standards, we do have new standards that were reissued in 2017.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's probably a good idea to have them look at it.
Could that be addressed from the new superintendent with a buyer, so that I don't have to get bylaws all re-signed by the current administration?
Oh, that's the question I was gonna have for our attorney also, is a lot of times we have re-signing of the maps is where I will re-sign and redate the map. I'm wondering if that's something that we would do on this one also.
Well, again, when I'm.
Yeah. I think it's been so long that you probably wouldn't want a fresh map. Now, I don't know that we need to get, I think you could condition it on getting some sign off from the highway superintendent, but I don't think we need to get a signature on the plan from him.
One thing that we've done, especially with the COVID, is a letter stating that we reviewed, this originally was approved in 2010. We have no additional comments. We have no concerns here this date, 2021.
From highway, right?
Yeah, from highway, something that we can just staple right to the map.
Yeah, that works.
That works, okay. Any comments? Looks as though seeker was done originally as a single family site plan. I think this is still a single family site plan. Haven't considered that. I think this original seeker still applies, negative declaration.
I would say it's not even applicable at this point.
All right, fellow planning board members, you feel as though any other discussion points? No. So I came up, we have one condition that I can think of, and that is town amended highway superintendent signs off on the plan, this is a letter that they have no comments after having reviewed it, no concerns. I would say that as any of my fellow planning board members feel comfortable enough to make a motion for conditional, preliminary, and final approval. Have a motion from Lauren. All right.
We fight over this all the time.
Everybody, it's like sitting at a four-way stop.
Who's gonna go?
I have a second from Chris. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? All right. There we go. Thank you. So yeah, get the letter and then contact Michelle. She'll let me know. I'll redate the approval when we have that letter.
The under review sign that's on the property now, does that need to come down?
Yeah, you can take that down.
What, Bill, what was your last name again?
Collins.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night. Moment, make sure I'm not stealing anything out of the file.
Thank you.
No guarantees. Next item on the agenda, we are on Zoom tonight, so any public that is watching via Zoom can type in any public comments, and then Michelle will read them aloud.
We have nobody in our Zoom meeting.
I will need to dry my tears. I'm offended. I thought we would be, I thought we did be giving the Kardashians a
You
run
know,
for their
we're
money.
like new up and coming. Give us time. Give us time.
So having no public comment, general discussion, one item I noticed, we got our comment, our letters, not our letters, but our contact information. Again, could we please update my email to the current email?
Update, oh, is it wrong on there?
Yeah, it's my 2016 email.
Okay, yes. I will, we have a, yes, I will, I'll help Mary fix that.
Every now and again, I go in there and I find emails from supervisor and other people. Any other general discussion?
There's nothing on the agenda for March 17th right now. We did add something on April 7th that I gave you guys.
The shop site plan, that's a public hearing.
When's that? Oh, yeah, that's 7th. Or 7th. It is a public hearing.
It's a public hearing.
So revised.
But
A
it
revised site
encroaches
plan,
into an
but it's-
E-pod.
There is encroachment into an E-pod and action in E-pod, development in E-pod, so therefore it's a public hearing.
Are we gonna have the ECP take a look at it?
Yes, it's gone.
It's in their mailbox.
Okay, good.
I believe they meet the day before you guys. Hopefully they can get us something. I don't know.
Okay.
They meet on the 5th or 6th, the day before.
It's a tight turnaround.
Hard turnaround, but the ECB they almost take it as a challenge.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, Patrick gets everything drafted up and he emails it out that night.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
As, I don't know if everybody is aware, there's a new sheriff in town. Michelle is the new planning board secretary. So if there's any concerns with attendance, please, if you don't think you're gonna be here, contact Michelle. Do we have your cell phone number for texting for last minute? Or does
is
it
it
go
on that
directly to your
contact sheet?
email? Do you check your email?
I
You
check,
addicted
I
to it
get
like
my
I am?
email on my phone, yes. But not the, yeah, I do get it,
Not
yeah.
the plan, okay, just
But-
last minute in case there's.
Yeah, if anybody doesn't have it, is my cell phone number on there? I'm on there like 10 times, right?
It's not on here, I got it.
Oh, I'll send everybody my cell phone number, that's fine.
Yeah, you're under the building department clerk.
I should get
No,
a
you're under your
report,
secretary to
building,
PB.
yeah, I should be
PBA.
under a whole bunch of stuff. I'll send my email, or my cell phone out just in case, though.
Last minute.
How many titles do you have?
I don't know what I'm up to, I think 7 right now, girl.
I'm sure you'll see that reflected.
And it's just called the clerk.
Yeah.
All right, I know I've talked about this a couple of times in the past, but I think I'm gonna come up with a checklist for reviewing plans, to facilitate a meeting. And this way we can all take our time to facilitate a review and just go through it. All 5 of us should be able to do it and work with our planning board attorney and our engineer. Now, one thing that we've also stopped doing a couple of years ago was collecting, the town stopped collecting engineering review deposits on some of the simpler site plans, such as the ones that we've seen tonight. And because we don't always send them over to the town engineer. Does the planning board members, my fellow planning board members, have any thoughts on that? And the reason why I bring this up is we did have one in recent memory where we quickly sent it over to Labella to, hey, take a look at this. And they sent it back to us. And the question is where does that get billed to? Because we don't have the deposit.
Yeah, I would say that's a question for the town board to decide.
Yes, well, should we talk to the town board and say, you know,
Which one was that?
there's a nominal deposit that they put down to a whole, it's a retainage fee.
No, I know, but which site plan was it?
It was over on Cheese Factory Road. And there were some questions.
Oh,
and there
the
was
seal
some-
one?
Yes, and there was a FOIL request involved with it, so due diligence, we contacted. My question is does any of my fellow planning board members, have you been hesitant to contact the engineers because you know that there's not a retainage? Who's gonna be paying it? No?
No.
Okay, then it's false. Just asking, sometimes
That's the way
you
it
just
is.
ask the question, huh?
That's why we have a town engineer.
Why you have a town engineer
That's why we have a town engineer.
deciding the questions and that they're on retainage. Okay. Any more general discussion?
Well, on that note, generally now, everything that comes in is just going to Labella. And I'm charging the engineering fees.
You are doing that. Okay.
Because Tom was good at that. Corey's still in the process of learning. So as of right now, we're kind of, like these 2 tonight, I did not send because they were they were already pretty much approved before.
Right.
But anything new that comes through is going right to Labella. And I collect the $675.
Okay, excellent. Well, I mean, the one tonight, I just think that if Labella would have reviewed, I think they would have caught some of those items that we had on there.
Oh, okay.
The swales, I mean, the water going right up to that east property line and nowhere to go.
Okay. Maybe I will kind of reach out. to
Even
them.
electronically,
Okay.
I know Mike's twiddling his thumbs waiting for these single
Yeah.
family site plans over
Yeah.
Labella.
I kind of, I hate, like, the Leonard one, I would hate to charge them $600 for.
Yeah,
that to go- That was
agree.
not worth it, you know, and, yeah, so. I kind of,
I think some of the hesitation to who is gonna collect that money is going to be gone here before the end of this month.
oh, yes, yes.
It's rotation.
Yeah.
All right. Any further discussion? If not, anybody want to make a motion? A favorite motion at the moment? Motion by Earl.
I second.
You don't want to talk anymore, Chris? Got a second for Chris? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?